Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm your host, Dr. Haider Shah. On behalf of Calvos, I would like to welcome all of you to this webinar. Thank you very much for joining us. Today, we have another very interesting topic, and I'm really honored to welcome and introduce our distinguished guest speaker who is going to talk about how to build and manage relationships. Building and managing relationships is a fundamental aspect of human interaction that can greatly impact our personal and professional lives. From forming the meaningful connection with friends, family, to establishing strong partnership with the colleagues and clients, the ability to cultivate and maintain positive relationship can lead to greater success and fulfillment in life. However, building and managing relationship is not always easy and requires combination of communication skills, emotional intelligence, and willingness to invest time and effort. So in this webinar, we will learn effective strategies for building and managing relationship that can help you create stronger connection and achieve your goals. So, very interesting topic, and I'm sure you will learn a lot from this session because we have an expert with us in today's this session. So, before we start, I would like to thank Kalwas for arranging such enlightenment sessions, for their support and providing us such a wonderful platform. The aim of Kalwas is to give you the opportunity to connect and interact with world-renowned speakers, academic leaders, teachers, authors, researchers, experts, professionals, and businessmen to learn from their experiences, recommendations, and suggestions which will create an impact and will enable you to learn and develop yourself in order to grow and transform individually, as well as to contribute to the world in a positive way. As our slogan is come, learn, and share knowledge. So today we have an amazing person as guest, a person having a wonderful of 2 decades experience in academia, an internationally known personality. We always see him while contributing to the world and field by by sharing his knowledge on different platforms. So let me introduce him formally. He is a seasoned education ambassador and consultant, licensed leadership coach with the Dell Kengi Coaching Associates Canada. He is a senior lecturer at the Optics Teacher Training Institute, certified career counselor and mentor with the International Internship University India, Microsoft certified educator with close 2 decades experience in the education. He obtained his first degree in geography education from Arts and Social Sciences faculty of the Obafemi Awolowo and Nigeria, and his master in educational leadership and administration from the University of East London. He has also successfully led numerous schools across different states in the Nigeria to remarkable growth. Moreover, he has also been involved in facilitating several educational programs and trainings with renowned institutions in Nigeria and abroad. He has coached and mentored over 50 school leaders and over 500 students through the Leadership Academy, School Administration and Management Academy, and Consulting Service separately, respectively. In addition to that, he serves as international speaker ambassador at the International Internship University India and Yes You Can International United Kingdom. He is a board member of the Apostolic Faith Secondary Schools and senior lecturer at the Optics Teacher Training Institute in Nigeria. He has won many awards and recognition for speaking and training locally and internationally. He is currently the principal consultant and the educator mindset consult and a lead coach at the School of Administration and Management Academy. He is passionate about global education reformation through quality professional development and consulting services. Last but not the least, he is a wonderful speaker, author, teacher, researcher, and professional, and above everything, a great human being. So please help me in welcoming our guest, Dr. Joel Olaniyan. Welcome to the Calvas platform, and thank you very much for joining us, Prof.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor Dr. Ada Shah, for this opportunity to be here on this platform. Thank you, Karwas, for inviting me over to your channel to come and learn and to share knowledge. It is a great opportunity to be here. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening from wherever you are joining us from. I am Joel Olaniyan, as I have been introduced, and I'm here to share valuable lessons and knowledge on the topic at hand, building and managing relationship. I will
Wonderful, and
share
it's
my
really
slides.
pleasure to have you with us, and we are looking forward to learn so wonderful insights and valuable knowledge from you. So over to you, Prof. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Ada. So, thank you, my audience, for joining. As I said, we want to treat an important topic that has to do with building and managing relationships. How do we build a relationship? And then how do we manage it? So, for this topic, I have coined another topic for myself, for you, and I put it as choose health. I put it as choose health. So many people say health is wealth, right? Health is wealth because not because health gives you money, not because health makes you build houses, because health gives you the soundness of mind. When you are in good health, you have a sound mind, then you'll be able to think properly, then you'll be able to act properly, then you'll be able to relate with people properly. And as a result of that, anything you want to acquire in life will definitely come your way. That is why health is wealth. And today, I want us to look at how do we build relationship and how do we manage it, taking a cognizance of health. The word health here is an acronym, HEALTH. So as we go on in the presentation, we are going to be learning what health is all about. So come along with me. Healthy relationships and consent. Healthy relationship and consent. That is a subtopic to choose health. We have been told that we need to build, our relation and to manage it. How do we relate with one another as co-workers, as boss to subordinates, as husband to wife, as children to parents, and as the community? How do we relate together, and how do we give our consent to relationships, to things that happen between one person and the other? That's what we learn to look at, especially in the education sector. Consent and relationship matters. Just like Professor Dr. Haider has just said by introducing me, he had to browse through my profile to see that, okay, I can invite this person in. And when he did reach out to me, I responded by consenting. I gave my consent. If I had refused to be here, we won't be here today. But because I gave my consent, which means that we have established a relationship, then we can move on to carry out our action. Here in Nigeria, the issue of relationship is very, very important because we have cases of suicide, we have cases of uh, unwanted marriages, unwanted relationship, even in the education sector, relationship being broken from employers to employees, wrong contracts being awarded. So all of these things boils down to having a healthy relationship. When the relationship is not healthy, when the relationship is not built on trust, when the relationship is not built on fairness, there is bound to be a disconnect eventually while the relationship is on. It is very good as an individual to be honest. It is very good as an individual to be trustworthy. It is very good as an individual to be transparent enough that people can rely on you, people can trust you, people can commit things into your hand and build a relationship with you. How do we come about this world? This world is a world of relationship. In the beginning, according to science, when we were developing from Homo sapiens to Homo, whatever it is that we were developing into, there was a relationship. Before we came about the age of technology, the age of data sciences, people had to relate with one another. People had to build relationships so that they can come together and make things happen. And that is why this topic is very, very important. I have just been able to build a background to our topic today so that you can understand how important building and managing relationship is. And so, what is a healthy relationship? As you can see in the picture, the first picture, you see the lady try to look into the face of the young man, showing care. and you see in the second picture two people holding hands. That is a level of trust and commitment. So let's look at it. Healthy relationship, it is that in all our lives, throughout our lives, we are involved in many different kinds of relationship. That's true. As we grow up, we relate with our peers at that level. When we move on and become a graduate, we have another entire relationship, a totally new relationship. When we come to the world of work, we have another set of relationship. And when we begin to have families, that is another set of relationship. So this relationship could be with our parents, could be with our siblings, our friends, teachers, classmates, and the rest. So relationship have the potential to make us happier because people had our feeling and self-worth. We build on that. And then that is what we call healthy relationship. The relationship has to be healthy because it does not involve hurt, because it does not involve any injury, right? So let's take a good look at what a healthy relationship is and an unhealthy relationship. Your partner acts controlling or possessive. Of course, that is unhealthy. If your partner is trying to control you all the time, even at school, in an education sphere, where the lecturer has at least a form of authority over the students, it sometimes gives the opportunity for his students to make a choice, right? That is an exchange of idea. Today, in the 21st century, there is nothing like the teacher-centered form of teaching. You have to build a relationship with your students so that they can learn better. You don't get to teach them from the start to finish. You have to give them room to collaborate. You have to give them room to exchange ideas while you supervise. That is a form of good relationship. So you can solve conflict without putting each other down. You can solve conflict. Two people misunderstand themselves. Your two students have some argument. You can resolve it without putting them against each other. You have your colleagues at work. They are in conflict. You can ensure you manage that relationship without putting them down, without lowering their self-esteem. So your partner tells you how to dress. That is a bit forward. If the partner will have suggested, oh, how about this dress? Do you love this? I think this will look good on you, not imposing it. Okay? We are in a world of choices. People make choices. And so you allow them to make choices, but you guide them, just like a guidance counselor will do. You will guide them into that choice, and then you will lead them to make the right choice. Of course, we have different opinions as human beings. Your opinion might differ from mine. For example, our host today, Dr. Haider, even though he's in the education sector, he has another different perspective, all right, that he is pursuing. I have another different perspective, but we have something in common, which is what? Education, which is to educate people, which is to affect and build life, build relationship, right? So that is a bit the difference between a healthy relationship and an unhealthy one. Let's just look at some characteristics of a healthy relationship. And like I said before, when you are building a relationship with people, you are mindful of their self-awareness. You are mindful of the communication channels or pattern that you are establishing with them. And you're also mindful that you don't put yourself too high above them. All right. You want to make sure that you come to their level. Just let me still take back the example of the lecturer and the students. When you come and you begin to meet your students, you discover that they have different levels. And then for each of these students, as you're teaching, you ensure that you come to their level, and from there you bring them up. That is building a relationship. You must be able to know and accept and trust yourself. To be able to build relationship, you must recognize that you have some value as a human being. You must be able to know that you have some potentials. You have something to give to the world. You have something that the world needs, to know. So feel comfortable about yourself. Number two, you need to be honest in your communication. Honesty is something that is probably lacking in our world today when it talks about percentage, but I tell you, it is a very, very good thing. So you can discuss things that are important to you, listen to your partner also, and have a good communication, right? And then you might have a shared form of authority. Maybe you have a business idea or you have a project to carry out, and then both of you look at it from equal angles, not that someone is bigger than the other. Even in a workplace, though we have our bosses, though we have the director, though we have the CEO, these people also, they don't even see themselves as being higher than us when it comes to human being. It is the position that placed them there, but as far as human beings, we are the same. We have the same idea, we share different ideas, we have a common ground to meet. So we greet each other, we respect each other, we value each other. That is how to build a healthy relationship. So respect is key. We must value our ideas, even our differences. Again, I would like to go back to our host, Dr. Haider, who is from Pakistan. I am from Nigeria. We are from different culture, but then we are meeting on this platform. Karwas is bringing us together, and we have a mutual respect. He's been calling me professor all the while. I am not yet a professor, but that is a form of honor. That is a form of respect. And I ought to reciprocate the same honor. Even husband and wife, when you live together, you must give yourself honor. You must prefer one another ahead of the other. That will make the relationship to last long. And in respect dwells humility. In respect dwell this lowliness. You don't seem to be too high, even though you have more knowledge, even though you have more, authority. You still consider yourself so low. And by doing that, the relationship will last very much longer. And then we need to support each other. We have to be there for our partner. We have to be there for our colleague. We have to be there for anybody that comes around with us. Knowledge is to be shared, as the theme or the hallmark of Kalwas is. He said you should come and learn and share knowledge. So we don't have to hoard knowledge. Knowledge is everywhere. Just share it. Give it out. Somebody else need it. Somebody else need your knowledge. Somebody else need your wisdom. All right. And we also have to trust one another. We should be able to count on our partner and believe that they will be honest to us. Some people say in our world today, trust no one. Trust no one. I want to disagree with that statement, because if we have to trust no one, then there shouldn't be marriages. Then there shouldn't be education at all. There shouldn't be any institution. There shouldn't be organization employing people and putting them as CEO or as business developer if there's no trust. Trust brings us together. Trust makes us to do things together. So we must be able to give the benefit of the doubt to our partners, to our colleagues, while we are still learning more about them. That is very, very important. Even though in a corporate world, after employment has been sealed, sometimes the organizations might decide to conduct some background check on that individual. That is okay. It doesn't mean that they don't trust the person. They just want to be sure that they have the right candidate for the job. For the fact that they have gone ahead to employ that person already shows that they are ready to move ahead with him. They just want to make sure that all the paper checks are complete. That is why background checks are conducted. That is why probably maybe a couples, they will go for maybe HIV tests or something. It's not that they don't love each other. is just to maintain or to be to have a formality set up kind of a thing. That is it. As parents and our children, we have relationship with them, we trust them, and these children also trust their parents. Have you ever promised your child that as you go out you will get maybe a candy or you get a snack for your child? As soon as you say that, what does your child do? He believes, he trusts you, because he knows that my father is going out and is going to bring candy. In fact, if the child goes to the neighborhood, he begins to tell everyone, my dad is coming home with a candy. He's coming home with his snacks. He knows that the father will surely do that. That is trust. And we must be able to trust each other in such manner. It is also good for us to know the signs of unhealthy relationships. Trying to control your partner, like I have said, we don't place ourselves too high to be able to be controlling minded. Here, I want to bring some aspect of leadership into place. We have many style of leadership. We have the dictatorship leadership or the authoritarian leadership. We have the distributive style of leadership, or what we call shared leadership. We have the laissez-faire leadership, that is, allow everything to be, let everybody take charge on their own. We have the transformational leadership, right? And for each of these leadership, I can tell you for free that they have their own impacts. So we must be careful that we don't take control over the other. I can remember President Obama, when he was making his speech that won him the election, he said, together we can. Together we can. That speech brought everybody together. Even though they did not know much about who Obama was, they believed in him because he was able to bring everybody together. We can do it. And he won the election. When you look at Mandela, Nelson Mandela was a once upon a time a leader in South Africa. He led the apartheid, and he was an example of transformational leadership. He brought people together. He allowed willpower, their choices to reign. He allowed them to make choices. That is why he was so much loved. That is why he was so much cherished. When you look at this other man that was with uh, Apple, uh, I can't even remember his name right now, but maybe when I remember, I will let you know. That was the first CEO of Apple. He also had his own style of leadership. His own style of leadership was a bit of authority. He wanted to gain control over almost everything, though he led the company to success, but that success did not last long for him. And he died very young at the age of, I guess, 50. He died very young. So you can see the impact of unhealthy relationship and that of healthy relationship. So when you are afraid of disagreeing with another person, that is not an healthy relationship, because you are trying to bottle up a lot of things. You are not freeing your mind. You are not allowing your choices to count. So when you have a discussion, it is okay to air your view. You can mention the way you think or the way you view a particular thing. That is totally okay. We can criticize one another constructively, right? We can say, oh, how about this? I would prefer that we do it this way. Oh, I think you added a bit of uh, sentences here. Can we reframe it? Those are wonderful criticism. We can do that. It happens at work, it happens at home, it happens almost everywhere in the society. We should be careful not to push, shove, grab, or hit, or throw objects at each other. I pray we won't even reach that level. Okay? When a relationship is becoming aggressive and the tone is becoming higher, I think one of the party needs to excuse. I think one of the party needs to take a time outside. Even as a teacher in the classroom, if you are getting annoyed over some of your students, it is okay to take a time out. Just go out for 30 seconds and calm down and then come back in. You will discover that you have a new frame of mind to be able to deal without issue. So we don't have to ridicule ourselves or call ourselves names. Rather, we should be able to work with other partners so that we'll be able to build that strong relationship that will make things happen for us. Today, in organizations, we are talking about growth, we are talking about progress, we are talking about development. Those three things, talking about growth, development process, cannot happen if there is no healthy relationships. If from each department people do not work together, that means the whole organization is not going to progress. So it is very, very important that we understand how to build this relationship. And it always comes from the place of honesty and trust. Does jealousy equal love? If I may ask you, of course, you will tell me no. For some people, they may say yes, because some people will say, I am jealous because I love you. I am jealous because I like what you're doing. If you love me and you love what I'm doing, you don't need to be jealous. You will rather commend me, you will rather, you know, support me. So the source of jealousy is usually insecurity. When you are in a place of work and you begin to feel insecure, you feel that the other person is getting a higher position than you. I mean, we might come together in a workplace at the same time, but only time can determine our growth. You might even come before me, but it all depends on the way the organization is able to measure performance. So we might come together, but then you might find yourself ahead of me, and I shouldn't be jealous about it. Rather, I should be able to support you, because growth is something that comes to everyone. So when you put in the right effort, when you put in the right work, you won't need to be jealous. You will just wait for your time and your promotion will come. The best way to deal with such feelings is to communicate honestly with your partner or with your boss. Even this morning, a colleague of mine who was one of my mentee in one of my programs, she called me. She was not too happy about what was happening in her place of work. She has a job description, but she's thinking somebody else is trying to do a job and she was not safe with that. I have to tell her that, see, you don't need to be discomforted at all. So long as the job is not threatening your life, is not threatening your health, just let it go. If the other person maybe is trying to do your job, maybe she wants to help, just have a positive mindset about it and then come out from the angle. And if you are very uncomfortable about it, you might call the person. Hello, I think uh, I think you have observed that you've been able to, you have almost everywhere and there, and then I don't really understand. The other day you did this and that. I am not so comfortable with it. Can we find a better way of relating together? Fine. Then you've been able to discuss with the person. Your burden will be light. Or you might come close to your boss and share with your boss what you feel is happening. That way, it does not affect your job. Rather, it gives you more credibility because you were honest enough to lay out your fears. Right. You should know your relationship rights. As someone who wants to build and manage good relationship, I told you earlier that we are talking about choose health. And everything we are saying revolves around your sanity of mind. It revolves around you being free of any hurt. So, healthy relationships are honest. If you want to know whether your relationship is a healthy one, look for the word honesty. If you find honesty there, if you find respect there, and if you find taking responsibility there, then that relationship is healthy. Partners don't pressure each other to go against their personal values. You don't need to pressure another person. You don't need to show off, right? Just do what you are asked to do without putting yourself too up or low, and move on. You don't need to put the other person down. Both people, if you are involved with a colleague, you are involved and you must feel about yourself, feel good. Each day you come, it is almost a tradition in every organization. When you resume work, you say good morning, and then you are being replied good morning. The moment one person does not say good morning, or both people do not say good morning, there might be something. You might want to walk up to the person, oh, good morning. I didn't hear your good morning this morning, so that's why I came over. So it's fine, right? By believing in your right to be treated well, you know that you must believe that you must be treated well, which is a part of your self-awareness. You are taking important steps to develop healthy relationship. So healthy relationship do not just happen. You must be conscious. You must take deliberate effort towards it. For example, you might need to go for more trainings, maybe on emotional intelligence. You might go for more trainings on communication skills so that you'll be able to relate well with your partners, with your bosses, or subordinates. So, building a perfect relationship will cost you something. It will cost you your time, it will cost you your money, it will cost you so many things so that you can measure up. So, how do we deal with arguments or controversies? It's okay to disagree. There's nothing wrong with that. You can disagree, but always look for a way to come back to a balanced level, come back to a level whereby people will be able to settle their differences. Okay? You fight fair, you talk calmly, you explain your feelings to the other person. You discuss what you would like to change if there is something you want changed. And then you cool off, you relax. That is how I feel you can go with that. And then dating violence. That statement really means that, are you going to side violence? Are you going to be a partner to violence? Or you will rather choose to be on a good and healthy relationship time? Mind you, violence is not a normal part of a relationship. When a relationship becomes to be abusive, of course, we have different type of abuse: physical abuse, emotional abuse, and mental abuse, and so many types like that. So we don't want our relationship to go that way. So we are very careful of violence. You may not touch the person, you may not have a physical combat, but then with our words, we could abuse. And there, this is where comes social and emotional learning for students and their teachers. Social and emotional learning helps to rewire our thinking. Okay, it helps us rewire and think healthy so that the students and the teachers can relate very respectfully, right? It is very important, but we are not here to discuss social emotional learning, so I won't dwell much on that. Now let's go to the subject of consent. Willingly giving permission through words or actions for something to happen. You can see it's that simple. Willingly giving permission. You must give permission. Oh, I saw something online and it has a copyright. I need to seek a permission so that I don't plagiarize. Mind you, silence is not a consent. You must be able to reach out to the person and get the permission of yes or a no at least. If an individual does not say yes, don't assume that the person has consented. You must be able to reach that consensus. Then you are sure that you can move on with that person. I hope we've got that. Let's just look at this example. Consent is so simple. It's as easy as asking someone, would you like riding a bike or would you like taking some tea? and he has to make a choice. Oh, I prefer riding a bike, or I prefer a tea. By giving a consent, you are making the person's choice to count. It's as simple as that. Well, we are in a world where we are mixed gender, and a lot of things happen even in schools, at home, in our offices, and we might come up with this topic: sexual assault. Any activity of sexual activity that is not done with consent is an assault. Okay, it might be touching, it might be kissing, or any form of intercourse. We want to avoid that because this thing has cost many people their jobs. These things has cost many people their marriage. These things has cost many people their cherished relationships. So we must try as much as possible to avoid such thing. And we are gradually driving to the end of our presentation. So I would like to test a bit your knowledge. I know though you may not respond to me directly, but then from your mind there, you should be able to answer these few questions. Is it okay to have sex with someone if they are drunk? Does that sound as healthy relationship or unhealthy relationship? What do you think? I think it's unhealthy, it's false, because the person cannot consent if he or she is drunk or high, threatened or coerced. That is, has certain disabilities or is in a relationship of trust with the offender. So that may be a false. Does someone imply consent? Does that imply consent? I don't think so as well. Which or a kind of action does not mean person can speak and say yes or no. Consent. That might or to your job. It is very, very good that we take people's action. In the corporate world, whenever a position wants to be given, the person has to be invited for an interview. I think that's so. You are interviewed and then you are asked, oh, Mr. Joel, we would like to consider you for the position of lead trainer in our organization, having seen your skills and the development you have caused for the past few years. Will that be okay for you? Is either they send you a paper to sign or they engage you in an interview and then you have to consent. You cannot say that because Mr. Joel has been a good man, he has been working progressive in this organization, and you just come up with a promotion without giving him consent. He must consent to that. So this topic is addressing CEOs. This topic is addressing subordinates, middle managers, executives at any level. So we must always seek consent from our people. That will give them that intimacy, that love for the organization, and it makes for great retainership. It makes them to stay much longer on the job because you always want to get their consent. Of course, don't get me wrong, if there are policies in place that every staff or every employee are signed to, the policy takes the place of consent. So long as you have agreed, if anything is done wrong, of course, that's implemented. Whether there's a need for is once the person has achieved this, and that, the person should be promoted, of course, and the person assigned to it, that can automatically be done. But I am talking whereby there is no document that has been signed. I'm talking about situation where you just need the person to respond to you by saying yes or no. Then you may need that. I want us to know that relationships may end. It is not all the relationship that will last. Okay? Some relationship may start well, and some may end by the way. Many people, many employees have chosen to start a particular job, and at some point they discover that they need to go to another place. That is okay. Relationship may end. But even when relationship ends, we must remain respectful. We must remain truthful. We must be able to talk with the other person face to face and avoid a bridge or a breaking that will be so questionable. We must be able to be free while we trying to end whatever relationship it is, whether it is a corporate one, whether it is a marital one, whether it is whatever it is. It has to end peacefully, and we should be able to explain our feelings to it. So it's okay. For example, I have been in various schools, I have led various schools, and I have left those schools by by resigning properly. All right, all the places I have worked in, I have still a good relationship with them. That means you are building a healthy relationship, because nobody knows tomorrow. You might need another help tomorrow. If not you, your children might need the help of your legacy. So that is very important. So on this note, I would like to conclude this presentation by advising you and advising everyone listening to me to choose health. Everything we have talked about so far is about your health. H for honesty. You need to be honest with one another. E is about empathy. We need to empathize. We need to have emotional intelligence. We need to relate with one another at the same level. A, we need to accept one another. And you must be able to accept yourself. Don't blame yourself unnecessarily. If something has happened in the past, you may want to let go of the past and focus on the present so that you can fulfill your future. We must be able to listen carefully to one another. One of the characteristics of great leaders is that they listen very carefully. And if you want to be a good communicator, you must listen very carefully. So, in order to build a healthy relationship, we must be able to listen to each other. And beyond that, T, we must be able to trust each other. That is very, very important. And then we must be able to have humor. We must be able to be happy. We must be able to, you know, have some fun, some day out, some get together, and a lot of fun activities with our team, with your spouse, with your children, with your community. Take some time out as an employer, as a CEO. Take your team out. Let's have some humor. You have to, relax a bit, unwind, and get a bit more fun so that you can build bonds, you can build more closeness, and you can think about how to progress your organization or your relationship with the other partner. So it's on this note, ladies and gentlemen, that I would like to draw a curtain on the presentation of today, building and managing relationship. I hope you've gotten some value, some knowledge. Thank you again to Kalwas for this opportunity to come and learn and share this knowledge. Thank you again to Professor Haider for this opportunity. God bless you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Prof. It was indeed a wonderful session and wonderful insights you have shared with us. Really, I love the way you just started it from the beginning. You just talked about the relationship. It is just not about the success or making money or wealthy. It is all about soundness of the mind. I loved your phrase. You started with it. So it was so great. And followed by your wonderful analogies and wonderful quotes. I was just looking at the different images you have put, which was very much descriptive, even though it was non-verbal communication, but it portray a message very nicely, and it was so wonderful. and it was depicting a wonderful message to the our audience that what you are actually trying to say. And I love your characteristic of the healthy relationship, that what is trust, and I love your analogy of giving that if we don't trust, how can we work regarding the or for any organization, building the colleagues, having a good relationship with our colleagues, clients, even marriage. So we need to trust, and trust is the foundation for everything. At the same, I love the way you just quoted us even while talking about that what is the respect and what is the support and what are the common interests between us and how can we do it. I think that was a wonderful part that you related each and everything in a practical way to illustrate in a wonderful way. And I love the way you just took a one of the wonderful test the knowledge was great idea, and it was a wonderful exercise because one has to ask himself that are you sure what is healthy relationship, and are you able to differentiate between the healthy relationship or not. And it was really a great thing. And I love your one of the phrase regarding the at the beginning, the consent. Without consent we cannot have a wonderful relationship. So I think the consent is the in a nutshell is the core argument of our this relationship, that we must seek the consent first, and then we can build a healthy trustworthy relationship. And I love the way you just projected the meaning of the healthy relationship by giving the wonderful abbreviation to it. Was so nice. Overall, I enjoyed this session, and I really learned a lot new things from you. And you're a fine speaker, and I knew from the beginning that you will be doing it very nicely since you have almost decades in the public speaking and education related activities. So I know that I knew you will be doing it very nicely. So you did it very nicely, and congratulations on such a fantastic job. Thank you. And if you
Thank you
allow
very
me,
much.
yeah, thank you. If you allow me, should we start with the first question, please? Because a few questions are waiting for your illustration and your explanation.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yeah.
No problem.
There is a one question, Prof, which you also talked about in your presentation, and our audience they are very keen and they just ask the same question. That thank you, Prof, for your wonderful insights and valuable knowledge. You talked about the emotional intelligence in your presentation as well. So, can you just guide us? How can emotional intelligence impact our ability to build and maintain a sound relationships? Just few points. Yes, please.
All right. Thank you very much for the question. Yes, of course, emotional intelligence is putting ourselves in the shoes of another person, is to be able to, uh, first of all, be aware of our own self and then considering the other person ahead of us. So, in building relationship, emotional intelligence comes to play in the sense that you've been able to understudy or know the person's strengths and weakness. Let me use those two. And then you are using your own strengths to help the weakness of that person, and you are using the strength of that person to help your own weakness. That is, in a nutshell, a way I would say emotional intelligence comes to play, because it is a two-way thing. You'll be able to understand the other person's emotions. In other words, emotions are ups and down. Emotions are positive, sometimes are negative. So if you know that, you should be able to marry it with yours so that both of you are balanced and will be able to relate together. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, wonderful answer, Prof. Thank you very much for explaining it very nicely. And now we have another very interesting question. You also talked about the in your presentation, but needs your illustration further regarding. Nowadays, Prof, you know that the technology and social media is very prominent in our world, and you also talked about the building network, the data science, and all these things. The question they want to ask that, Prof, can you enlighten us regarding the how can technology and social media impact our ability to form and maintain our relationships? Yes, please.
Oh, that's a wonderful question. That's a wonderful question. I did mention, I think, somewhere while I was delivering the presentation about 21st century learning. And of course, technology has come to stay. And while we are building relationship, we must also use technology. Okay, let me take you back a bit to the era of COVID-19. If I should throw you back the question, how did you survive in COVID-19? If I should ask the questioner, how did you survive during COVID-19? Did you relate with people? You will say yes. Did you buy things? You will say yes. Did you, in form of order, do one or two things? You say yes. Why? Because you made use of technology. So technology is key. It's just a way of reaching out to the other person in probably the fastest way and most concrete way. For example, we are on this platform, we are together. Already, some people here have getting to know me for the first time, while Professor Haider and I, we have been talking for some weeks now about this training. Technology has made that to happen. So it is a sure platform to build relationship. But I will, of course, let you know, as educators, we must also be careful about whoever we come in contact with. I'm sure what Professor Ida did that paid off is that he first of all went through my profile. He first of all went through and saw what I am about before making an approach. So you don't just accept anybody that comes online to you. Rather, before you give your consent, you must be able to have some basic knowledge about that person, still using technology, and then that will be all right. Thank you.
Wow, wonderful, Prof. I am enjoying the way you are giving answer. You have again given our example, and you have showed the how technology played a role, and then again you have correlated it with the consent as well. That how the consent plays an important role among all these things. And I think that's the beauty of the expert that they integrate everything and they squeeze the ocean into a drop. So very nicely you have done it. Thank you. And since we have the time limitation, so one last question, and they want to ask your personal opinion and your personal view regarding that thing. That Prof, would you like to share with us what kind of common challenges you faced while building and managing relationship, and then how did you overcome those? Yes, please. The audience wants to know your personal challenges as well.
Thank you very much. I think because building healthy relationship comes from the place of honesty and fairness. I of course I will have to share. I have quite a number, but let me choose one. All right. You know, when we build relationships, sometimes we are trying to understand each other, and in the process of understanding each other, there might be some glitch, there might be some little misunderstanding because it's still in the process. So, while I was a school head, all right, I have worked for in that organization for quite some years, and at some point there was a notion of my boss then about whether I was effective enough to deliver, because what I met on ground was that there was a high turnover of staff. The staff were almost resigning, they did not last, and even the leadership, you know, the leaders were resigning, and the students' growth was not static, it was dwindling. And I came into that. So when I came into that, and having met with different staff, related with them, trying to understand them, I have built about three goals that I needed to fulfill within 3 years. And the first goal was to do what? To be able to stabilize the staff, for them to have a sense of belonging into the system. Number two is to create more relationship with my parents so that they believe more in the school. And the third thing was to be able to come up with a retainership of students. Of course, as a result of the relationship with the parents, I want to build up a situation whereby the students are, stay and they are growing. So there was no much focus on too much focus on academic, you know, growth and all that. Because I have been able to identify the cause, I have made research, I have found out that this school is not stable, the staff are not stable, and that is why the parents are not stable. Because once you keep changing the employees, of course, your clients will begin to ask question why. So that was a bit a confusion between my level of operation and my boss. So at a point, they now ask, what is it? We are not really feeling that academic push and all that. I laughed, I laughed and I said, okay, I now propose to them that this is what I have discovered when I came to your establishment. And this is what I am working at. And that was it. That sealed up, that made them to believe more in my person. And of course, you know what? After those 3 years, the rate of academic performance just doubled because staff were more stable, students were more peaceful, there was this exchange, and parents were satisfied. So the academic results started increasing. I felt that if I should do these first two things, it will help in the growth of the system. But then my employer felt otherwise. But thank God she had to come to me to ask why, and I was able to explain. So while I explained with evidence, we were able to strike a balance, and eventually we had a wonderful relationship. I am not sure. I'm sure this helps. At least this one example.
Yes, thank you very much, Prof. Really, you have given another wonderful example of your own and how did you overcome it. Because this is what we show to our audience that the experts we have in the field, what kind of problems they faced and how did they overcome all those problems with the passage of time. What were the learning out of that? What were the lessons out of that? And what do they recommend for the future as well? I think you have given a wonderful lesson by sharing your wonderful story, and that's the personal experiences which you have gone through, and these are the eye opener for our audience to learn from it. Thank you very much, Prof, for your really wonderful presentation and wonderful content. Overall, it was a great presentation and thoroughly explained. I enjoyed it, and I hope our audience would have enjoyed it as well, along with the great lessons they would have learned from it. And Prof, now at the end, we would like to have your concluding remarks. And we also asked our each guest regarding their message to the world. So, what is your message to the world as a speaker, author, teacher, researcher, trainer, learner, professional, and educator? Yes, please.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Ada. My parting message to the world is that let's keep connecting with one another because a tree cannot make a forest. The more we work together, the more we grow. And the more we grow, the more our success stories. We are in a global world whereby everything, we can do anything, almost anything globally. I have a friend in the US that we have done some trainings with. I have never met her physically, but we've done a lot of trainings together, impacted people around the world. So that suggests that if we can only have this habit of connecting with people, you might not know that probably your challenge, you may have a particular professional challenge, could be solved by the next person that you meet. Oh, I am also doing this. I think I can help you with this. And that will solve it. So let's keep getting in touch with one another. Don't let us be afraid to lay up our fears, our limitations, because by sharing, we have more. And by giving, we also have more. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Wow, wonderful. What a powerful message you have given to the world. And I love the phrase you have mentioned is a tree cannot make a forest. So you may have to collaborate and we have to join hands together in order to contribute. And this is what we say, this is the beauty of this synergy that Once we work together, together we grow, and together we can contribute more. And this is what we have been doing. And thank you very much for being so great and being so great expert. And you have shared wonderful insights with us. Thank you very much once again. And to the audience, that please follow our distinguished guest speaker through his work. You can email him for future learning and guidance. He is very generous and always ready to help the people. That's all we have time for today. Thank you once again, Dr. Joel Oliniyan, and I would like to
Olaniyan.
thank,
Yeah.
yeah, Olaniyan. And I would like to thank our audience to join us. If you have additional question about information shared today, please email us or connect to the speaker through his email or social media account. Thank you all for your support and liking our session. Stay tuned as many sessions are on the way. Please do not miss any session. Until next session, take care of yourself.